What is going on, everyone? It's Justin here, back with a brand new shirt, and today I've got a video of what apps I currently have, as well as a widget setup on my iPhone 12 Pro. So when iOS 14 came out, a lot of people did videos of their setups, and as someone who's usually used to doing desk setups, I didn't do a setup video of my iOS 14 or iPhone, so I feel like this is a good time because I recently switched over to the iPhone 12 Pro as my daily driver. My previous phone was the iPhone 11 Pro, and I had the apps pretty much the same way I had them for many years now. I was just really used to it. But the iPhone 12 Pro or the iPhone 12 Pro Max that's coming out next month is probably going to be my daily phone for the next year. So right here we've got the blue color in the nice like navy shade. I actually think it looks really good, and I also have a lot of other videos on the channel that go over like the unboxing, the setup, my opinions and things that you should know, as well as just like information about the brand new iPhone. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, I'm going to drop a link to everything down below. And if you didn't already, I've got a brand new iPhone 12 for one of you guys, so if you want to enter, just make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow me over on Instagram at justin.tsc, and leave a comment down below with your Instagram username, and also leave a comment on some of the other videos that I mentioned this if you want an extra entry. So in general, this iOS 14 setup is not really specific to this year's iPhone, and to be honest, I feel like even though there are some great changes in the form factor and the camera, the iPhone hasn't really changed that much in the past year, and I feel like the 12 Pro Max is going to bring some of those changes that people who use like the camera, for example, are really going to enjoy. But when it comes to the app setup itself, I was definitely kind of late to adding widgets. I didn't download the beta on my main phone, and when iOS 14 was first installed on this device, I didn't actually use any widgets or anything. It just took a couple weeks for me to kind of get used to. But looking at the homepage here, I really like the fact that you have widgets on your left side as soon as you go on the phone. And if I want to go ahead and add some of like different ones from my apps that I use on a daily basis, such as the stocks, Tunnel Bear VPN if I want to quickly access that, as well as like weather and the battery, I can just put that on my main menu and easily access that, so that is always nice to see. Going over to like the homepage, this is an area that hasn't really changed that much in many years. And Android has had like customization and all that, but iOS is just getting that for the very first time. And in terms of what I've done here, I have just added my Spotify because that is one of my most used apps. And instead of having it take a spot on the bottom bar, I decided to put it on my homepage in just a small menu, just to see what song is playing and how I can quickly change that. So just by tapping on that, it will open up the Spotify app right away and bring you to the playlist. Some of the other ones are the battery, because I usually have to charge my phone about twice a day from using it too much. So I have like the AirPod status and all that kind of stuff, so I know when to plug it in or connect it to like the MagSafe adapter, for example. But if you look at some of the other apps that I have on my homepage, it is just like Google Maps, YouTube Studio to check the status of some videos, also Instagram that I use a little bit too much, just to, I don't know, follow a lot of like F1 pages and all that kind of stuff. And also going on Twitter, nothing too special about that, but one app that I use a lot, even though I've switched over to Notion for the most part, is Apple Notes. And here I've got like all the information from my videos, and I just find it much easier to just like dump ideas onto there and just organize them a little bit later. So for example, the gift guides, we have all of the different products, the prices, stuff that have been ordered, and also stuff that we still need to sort out. But if there's like a better note system that is good for like group work, then make sure you let me know down in the comment section below, because I am trying to find a new one. I've also got like banking in the main page, which is just like not that exciting at all. And on the next page, I have like kind of the secondary apps that I use on an occasional basis, but maybe not as much as the others. I've got Spotify, Dropbox, which is my main file system of choice. And I like the fact that with the widgets, I can just drop everything in, like photos and stuff, in one button. And on the top corner, you have your settings, Sonos, and the Starbucks. But one of my new favorite apps is Notion. And Notion is one of those where you can just have like a limitless number of ways to sort your information, have databases and all that stuff. But one thing about it is that the mobile app like absolutely sucks, which is why it is on the second page. I try to use it over on the tablet or the computer much more than I do on the phone. Another great app that I've had for many years now is Deliveries, and Deliveries is a place that you're able to just copy your tracking numbers from your emails, and it will find it from the clipboard and put it here, and it'll also put it in your calendar and sync with all your devices as to when your packages are going to arrive to ensure that you're home. There's also like Amazon and Uber Eats, which I've been using a lot over the past couple months. Just like within a click, you have products on their way and ready to go. But on the top, I also have Lightroom, which is where I edit all my photos, whether it is like Instagram or on my iPhone. So sometimes if there's like a story that I feel like could use a filter, whether it looks good or not, I'll go ahead and go on Lightroom and edit that. And like you can do every single thing for the most part that you can on a desktop app on the mobile version of Lightroom. So you can see the HSL, we have all the color corrections and everything, and also like the masking features. If you take a look at the photo, like right here, you'll see that a lot of the stuff has kind of masked individually, and sometimes I'll need to go on my computer and like finish up the rest of the process because it's a bit hard to do on a small screen. But in this case, I started most of it on my phone, and then I may have brought it over to the iPad and used the pen and just like clean up some of the masks. But the Lightroom version on the phone is really effective, and I really like to use it. Another app that I found lately that I've been using quite a bit is called Uncrate. So you guys might see like we do a lot of videos on like EDC and also just like desk setup and interior design, and it's often hard to find products to curate. So on Uncrate, they show like all these different products that are just like cool, and they either look good or they're functional and unique. And just from going through this app, I can select an item and kind of figure out if I want to add it to a video or not, maybe reach out to the company. There's also a lot of like inspiration in design and everything, so I just like to browse this app and kind of pin a lot of the stuff. It is almost like a male lifestyle version of Pinterest. Before I move on to the next app though, I want to give a huge thanks to the sponsor of this video, AnyTrans, and their one-stop iPhone data manager. So for a lot of you who are going to pick up the brand new iPhone this year, one of the things that you might notice is that the base model of the iPhone 12 Pro specifically comes with 128 gigs as opposed to 64. So if you're limited by storage in your previous generation iPhone, maybe you now have the chance to add more photos, more music and stuff from like iPods, iPads, and your computer all onto your brand new device. And what AnyTrans allows you to do is easily migrate storage and data. It actually supports 27 types of data, including photos, music, video, messages, WhatsApp, contacts, books, bookmarks, apps, as well as videos. It also gives you the option to make a full backup or just backup only added or change data since the previous backup, saving you much time and disk space. Most importantly though, it is also really easy to selectively choose what you want to migrate over on a fresh restore on your brand new phone. And it is actually a service that I've used before when I was trying to combine data from two different devices onto one, and just using like the stock Apple options didn't allow me to do so. If you guys want to go ahead and check out AnyTrans for yourself, it is available on both Mac and Windows, so I'm going to drop a link down below, and a huge thanks to them once again for sponsoring this video. One last thing is they're also giving away an iPhone 12, so go ahead and check the links down below on how to enter their giveaway. When it comes to the password system, I've really tried to tighten up my security lately, and LastPass is the one that I've been using. So I've tried 1Password, I've tried Dashlane, and I don't really have a favorite. I feel like all of them have like their own problems, but I feel like LastPass has been relatively reliable. The autofill works quite well, which is an issue that I had on 1Password. But one thing that I do like about 1Password is that it has the two-factor authentication method built into the app itself, so you don't have to use a third party. I know a lot of times you guys ask about the wallpaper, so I'm going to try to mark it and show it to you. I usually just like forget where I find it, but this one is actually from an app called Unsplash, and I've been using this for quite a while now for both like computer episodes and also phone episodes. So we just go to like the wallpaper section and select like nature or something and just continually scroll for, in some cases, a long time before I find a wallpaper that works nicely. And the good thing is that they all have like a nice resolution. Whether you're looking for just like a wallpaper, a print, or something for your phone or tablet, you can probably find it on Unsplash. As for like the business side of things, for the clothing company, we use an app called Planoly to kind of plan the Instagram feed. And although I'm not like the best at ensuring that we post on a regular basis, we have like all the photos, whether it is like the feed post or like the press images for Dangerfield on the app. So whenever I want to go ahead and publish one, I can just select it and do like a crop and like caption and tag and all that kind of stuff. And if I need to, I can just shuffle it around to get a good idea of how it's going to look on the feed. Some of the other apps that I also use are Visco. VSCO. So in some cases, I might go into Lightroom and just like edit the photo to ensure like the highlights, the shadows, and like the masking is all good. And then I'll export it as it is, and then I'll bring it into VSCO and add a light filter. It just really depends. Some photos I feel like I want to put more effort than others, and some of them are just going on like Twitter or Instagram stories. So a quick edit like VSCO just makes much more sense. Some of you guys also asked what I shoot some of my Instagram stories on, and for the most part, it is all done on the iPhone. So I'll just whip out the camera, record a quick like video using the stock camera app, and then I'll put it into VSCO and use the video function to add a filter to that and do like a quick grade. It literally takes like 20 seconds at most, and you do have to have the subscription with VSCO to be able to do that. One of my favorite apps though for Instagram, whether it's for brand or personal use, is Unfold. And now they've actually introduced something called Unfold for Brands, which allows you to add your own fonts, stickers, and all that kind of stuff. But I personally have the Unfold Plus, which gives you access to all the different options that they release each month. And as you can probably see, I've done a ton of different stories in different formats with this to be able to just combine images, add text, and just make it look much better than the stock Instagram app. I'm sometimes like way too lazy to go into the app and do this, but when you do put the effort in and put together a nice story, I do think the results actually look pretty awesome. So this app is Unfold, and I believe it is worth every cent to go ahead and get the Pro model. I gotta say though, this blue iPhone is probably my favorite color of all time, and some of you guys commented on the video saying like, why did you unbox the blue one, or like every single one is a blue one, and all I've got to say to that though is we didn't get to choose. Apple sent out their brand new color because they want people to be able to see it. Although I am very curious of the way the gold looks or the way the gray one looks, because I'm pretty boring and just go with like the most generic color, I do think the blue one actually looks really, really good in person. One thing though is that if you don't go ahead and put a case on it, it is gonna like fingerprint and smudge all over the stainless steel kind of border of it, and it just looks really dirty and really messy within a couple minutes. So I think that is one of the advantages to the iPhone 11 and the glass back with the kind of aluminum matte finish side. Another app that I also have is Formula One because I love to watch that sport, and I usually just have it playing on the projector right here in the morning. Sport is obviously very technical. There's like a lot of different pieces of data. You have like the tire wear and like the times and all that stuff that you usually see them live tweeting. But with the Formula One app, you can just like follow the details live and kind of go along with it, which just makes it a lot more fun to watch. So if you're a Formula One fan, I've got a very fun video that I'm working on. You guys probably see the steering wheel in the back, and the reason why it's taken so long is because I want to make it as good as possible. Another thing that you might also notice though is that I have quite a few smart home apps, and maybe not as many as some people out there, but I have the Philips Hue app, the Nest, and also the Sonos and Dyson. So with the Hue app, I'm able to control the lights that are on the back of my monitor as well as in the bedroom and stuff, and I found that having the bridge system on the Philips just makes it much more reliable. I've had like LifeX bulbs in the past that had their own hub, and I found that they disconnected very often, but another app is like Nest, of course, pretty self-explanatory, and that includes my thermostat and also the smoke detector. So the smoke detector doesn't really have to do anything until it needs to, but it does test itself once a month. And the kind of thermostat is just easy to change, and it also sets schedules if you would like it to, but in my case, I have that all turned off. The Dyson app also ties together the entire suite of products, so if you have the air purifier or the light, the vacuum and all that, you control everything from that app, so that makes things very easy once again. And as you move on, you can see there's more and more folders for apps that I just don't use that often. Reading apps literally go on that thing like once every 2 months. You also have spaces, so whenever I travel and I need a filming space, I'll go into that and take a look at Breather, Pure Space, or Airbnb to find somewhere to film. Obviously we haven't done that this year. And for shopping, you just have your Wayfair, which is for finding furniture, like the setup makeovers and TV stands and desks. I also use Etsy like occasionally to find like pieces of art or like little kind of things to put on the wall, but there's just so much stuff on there, it's often hard to look around. Chrono24 is also an app that I've been visiting a lot lately, and this allows you to keep track of like watch models out there and see what things are worth, get like a market value. Because as someone who came from an interest in shoes, I ended up selling off most of my shoes because I just found that I wasn't wearing them and the value was dropping, and I don't know, I wasn't like a huge fan of them anymore, so I kind of switched over to watches. And although I'm not like a collector by any means, I'm interested in them and I want to keep track of the market. So Chrono24 is like a good app to download and just get an idea of what things are worth. Shopify is just one that I use to manage the clothing company and keep track of sales and what we have to ship. And for travel, it is just all the airlines, because if you don't have the apps for each airline, sometimes certain things can't be done, such as like check-in from your phone at least. For productivity, you have like Excel, Word, PowerPoint, QuickBooks, and all those really boring things that I try not to visit at all on my phone. So we try to do all that on the computer. For any photographer or videographer out there, another good app is called Alpenglow, and this just tracks the location and gives you some information of like blue light hour, golden hour, sunrise, and daytime. But one very useful feature is that it also gives you a daylight index. Another similar one to Alpenglow that Chris just introduced me to. And what this does is give you more detailed information as to which side the sun is and all that. So you can kind of figure out like where you're filming sets and location scouting and all that kind of stuff to determine whether or not it is in fact a good location that can be compatible with the kind of style you're going with. Another one that is kind of cool for like smartphone vloggers is called Double Take, and that allows you to take a video on multiple angles at once, whether it is the lenses on the back or on the front. So if you're just like trying to record a vlog or something or react to a live event, then this allows you to do that. And it's one that I've kind of played around with here and there, but I do want to use a bit more. One app that is really fun that I feel like everyone should have though is called Choisy. And I know quite a few people who use this, but when you're going out to eat and you're trying to figure out who has to pay for the bill for the entire table, we call it credit card roulette in the past. A game that has like no variables is one where you just like put your fingers on it and it'll pick who has to pay for the bill. So I feel like that's a lot of fun. A lot of times with like credit card and stuff, you get the waitress to pick it out, or it's just kind of, I don't know. I feel like this is like a new one that is just a lot more fun. Another great app that also takes advantage of Apple's newest processor, the A14, that you also find on the iPad is called LumaFusion. So this allows you to edit your videos on your smartphone, so you can just import something and start on it right away. And as you can see, it actually has all the tools that you should expect out of like iMovie and some from Final Cut, all from the palm of your hand. I will say it is quite painful to try to edit an entire video on your smartphone, but if you really need to and want to do it on your phone, then the chip inside the iPhone is able to handle that. And I feel like it is quite impressive that a phone nowadays is able to edit an entire video if needed. I think one of the things that I'm most excited about this new iPhone though is the fact that it is going to have ProRAW support on the Pro models, and being able to like access metadata for like white balance and exposure and all that stuff on a smartphone photo and on an iPhone more specifically, because Android phones have had that option, is going to be one that I really want to try out, so we might revisit that. As for music for YouTube videos, I use something called MusicBed. I know a lot of you guys ask, like, where do you get your songs and stuff? And finding music is probably the part of the process that I'm like most lazy of. Maybe the editing as well, but the music is always a tough one. I mean, you try to not use the same song 2 or 3 times. A lot of times you might see another creator already use it and stuff like that. And with any royalty-free platform and with YouTube and their strict copyright guidelines, it's bound to happen. So MusicBed, Epidemic Sound, and ArtGrid are all ones that we kind of rotate around, but MusicBed's by far the one that I use the most. When it comes to the Lidar, that is one of the features that is only on the iPhone 12 Pro as well as the iPad Pro 2020, and that essentially uses like lasers to give you better spatial and AR related stuff, so I feel like it makes sense to talk a bit about that in this video as well. And some of the apps that already like kind of take advantage of it are IKEA as well as Wayfair, and also one called RoomScan Lidar. So if you have like an empty room and you're trying to preview your furniture and you hope it doesn't look like crap by the time it arrives and just want to have a chance to preview it, then having a Lidar sensor is something that can be used for that, but it definitely isn't really a reason to go ahead and buy a brand new phone unless you're like a interior designer by trade or do a lot of that stuff. When it comes to the podcast Instagram page, I also use an app called Canva to create some of like the elements and stuff on there, and you can access it on your computer as well as on your tablet or your phone. And if you've kind of noticed a trend in this video, I usually prefer platforms that are completely cross-compatible. That way I'm able to access and use them at any time. So that pretty much wraps it up for the apps that I currently have on my iPhone 12 Pro, and just like my updated setup for winter 2020, because I have changed up my wallpaper and also added a couple widgets here and there. If you guys want to go ahead and check out my video of the iPhone 12 Pro and all that kind of stuff, make sure you check those links down below, subscribe to the channel, because we of course still have the iPhone 12 mini and 12 Pro Max coming in November, and I'll see you guys in the next video.